tests, so-called tests are. These tests are seeing who are you deciding to be right now, and it's all about being. Again, it's all about being the version of yourself that you envisioned. And once you be that version, you're gonna do the things that that version of yourself would do, not the old version. You're not gonna go drink. You're not gonna be like, oh no, and like go off on some girl trying to shit test you. You're gonna remain calm through the storm. What's up, guys? You already know what time it is. Fit to Flourish podcast, Get LV Fitness podcast, the clashing, the combo, bringing it
Swamp
right
Izzo
so hey, yo.
type
No,
shit.
but today we are going to be talking about literally how to get the most aura of all time, and the way to do that is by laughing through the struggle. So we're going to basically talk about why do winners love challenges, and why do you have to just laugh through the struggle. So, Luther, if you wanted to go and start talking about maybe something that you faced, some adversity that you faced, a story about how you faced adversity, and at first it may have seemed overwhelming, and then all of a sudden you went through and just kind of crushed it, and looking back at it, you're like, that shit was nothing.
Honestly, like the way to build confidence, obviously competence builds confidence. We know that. But adversity is just part of a man's life. Like a lot of people don't realize that because they're around feminine, influences, like they're raised by a single mom, they don't have any masculine figures in their life, like they don't understand that adversity is part of life, and failure means that you have to learn from it and get better. It doesn't mean that it's over. And a lot of you guys quit after failure. But I remember, I'm not gonna lie, just my senior year of high school specifically, like after that there's so much more, but like just my senior year of high school, the literally worst year of my life, the biggest test ever. It was like I was starting on varsity at defensive end, right? And slash outside, actually outside linebacker. I was starting at outside linebacker and defensive end because I could rush off the edge. I was pretty fast, right? I had a good burst, pause. I was good off the edge, but I was like 175, right? And then I got gastritis or whatever, which no one fucking knows what it is. And all the coaches were black. They're like, what is this nigga talking about, bro? So I was in and out of the hospitals all summer, lost my starting spot, right? Literally lost all my confidence, felt like shit. And everyone was shunning me because every time I told someone I had gastritis, they're like, man, shut the fuck up, bro. That doesn't exist. And you can't prove, without obviously a colonoscopy, but you can't really prove someone has gastritis. Because if you're in stomach pain, like, and people are looking at you and they feel okay, they're like, what is he talking about? He's in stomach pain. Like, they don't understand it. It's not like you have a big wart on your face, or you have like or you're like, pregnant or something like that. You're just in pain 24/7. But I just remember that entire year of being ostracized, getting disrespected by every kind of person, getting disrespected by the nerdiest of nerds, you feel me? Getting disrespected by teachers, getting disrespected by, the football coaches, the football team, getting disrespected by chicks specifically. I mean, they used to disrespect the fuck out of me, but just going through all that, and then, parents not believing whether or not you have the gastritis, because it sounded like I was making the shit up, but the symptoms were very real. And that's when I was like, yo, you really just got to deal with your own shit, because the doctors they're doing the same shit. I went to like 10 different doctors. They're like, bro, like, they're literally like, dude, you're young. This usually doesn't happen. What are you talking about? Like, they're all just like, yeah, you're young. This shouldn't happen. So that's when I realized, like, yo, you really have to do things on your own. Like, no one is going to help you. No one is going to do the work for you. That's why you got to prioritize yourself. Same thing goes with business. Like, you're responsible for your income. You're responsible for, your entire business. No one's going to care about it like you do. So you have to show up to that shit every single day and realize it's going to be a struggle. But when you prioritize it, where energy goes, energy flows.
Yeah, so that you talk about that story a lot. I feel like that was probably a defining moment in your life, but it was also a time in your life where it was like you like not just you physically, but everything in your life, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, like everything was different. Like it was the you before you died, kind of like an isekai. It was like the you before you died, like an isekai. So
Facts.
so kind of explain, like, okay, what did you look like versus now, and what did like life look like? Well, you talked about like what life looks like, but like talk about how you look like, and then how you look like now, and how life is now, like the 360. Like what was the isekai? Like what's the story of that isekai? Like, okay, yeah, you had
So
the same
like,
pain.
So specifically, then I was just like, I was super skinny, emaciated. People used to make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, why are you wearing my little sister shirt?" Basically, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm pretty much dying." I couldn't go to sleep because my stomach hurt, and if I laid down, it would, the acid would run up. So I just stood up. I literally used to stand up. like for 8 hours when I was supposed to be sleeping, just stand up in my room or read a book or some shit, and then go to school, no sleep, and then go to football practice. Like that was the type of shit that was going on. And then, like I said, disrespect from chicks. If the teacher called on me, people would be like, "Who the fuck is that?" And they would look back and be like, "Oh shit, that kid's in this class." Or whatever. So life was just ass. Everything. There was no positive to life except when I read a book and I escaped the actual real world. It wasn't until like when I went to FAMU and I actually started like I wrote down a plan of action. Like, listen, I'm going to heal this gastritis, right? Because like my goal was always to have some muscle mass, have some aura, be confident, and pull at least one chick. And at that point, I was like, bro, there's 100% chance. Even when mommy looked at me, she was like, yeah, this nigga's probably gonna be a virgin for life. So I was like, there's 100% chance I'll be a virgin when I'm 40. I'm never gonna earn any respect. I'm never gonna gain muscle. Like there was 100% chance. So I just remember going to my first year of college, learning some stuff, but also I ate the greatest I've ever eaten in my life. Everyone was eating fried chicken. I was eating the grilled chicken, the salads, the vegetables every single day, and then staying away from the acidic food, staying away from fast food, walking more, and that ended up healing it. So then, I felt way better that I could actually eat food, and I was like, yo, this is a second chance at life. Let me actually eat what I need to eat. So just looking at how it was then, as far as respect from chicks, zero. Now it's like, obviously way more respect, but I'm also on my purpose more and I feel more purposeful and I'm more intentional in everything that I do. But also I realize now when I'm not going through adversity or I'm not going through discomfort, I'm like, okay, well, I need to find some discomfort or adversity, because if I'm not uncomfortable, that means I'm not growing. You know what I mean? But back then I was like, dude, if I fail, it's over. Dude, if I fail, it's over. This is it. You know what I mean? Now I realize that a man's life is discomfort. A man's life is constantly going through shit.
That's heat. But you got to move the bottle out the way. It's gonna make the clips like it's blurry. It's blurring the thing. All right. But yeah, that's a really good point there. Like you think everything is gonna be fun and roses like Disney movies, but it's not, right? It's not, and that's just coming to a realization of like, okay, life can get hard. Life can get hard. And one of the quotes by Les Miles that I really like is, if he says that if you do what is hard, then life will be easy. If you do what is easy,
You mean
then
Les
life
Brown?
will be hard. Who I said? Les Miles? I keep saying it. Yo, the football coach, yo, crazy. I keep getting them mixed. But
Shout
yeah,
out
Les
Les
Brown.
Brown.
But basically, so if you do, that's a bar too. That's really a bar. I thought about it. I was like, what does he mean by that? He means like, hey, if you're anything that's hard, basically, like if you're studying, like most people can't study, right? If you're studying for hours and hours, if you're working out, putting in the work in the gym, you're lifting heavy weights, you're watching your calories, which most people think is hard. Why is it hard? Is because most people can't do it. It's something that takes concentration, something that takes dedication, all of that. It's hard. If it's hard, then life is going to be easy, and that is the life of a man, or the reason why winners are going to love challenges. Winners are going to love challenges because they know that every challenge is going to create a new them. It's like it's like an isekai. It's gonna cause them to kill the old them and become a new version of themselves that's going to be so OP that they're going to be on another level. And every time you start to feel like things are getting easy, yeah, you're gonna want more, and that's just kind of like the human nature is to want more and to do better and to grow, right? So
Yeah, it makes sense. But that's why the fitness journey is so important though. Like in the fitness journey, you have to go through adversity and you can't skip the process. People think that the fitness journey is you eat chicken and rice, you eat eggs, and you eat one salad and you're fucking shredded. Or they think that you go to the gym, you do 10 push-ups and you twerk once and then you have muscle and shit like that. That's not how it works. You have to progressively overload, specifically if you're cutting fat, which most people have to do because the average body fat percentage is damn near 30%. Most people have to cut and lift heavy at the same time. So they're going to be on less calories than they've ever eaten, and they're going to have to lift heavier than they ever have, which means they're also going to be sore, and they're going to be like, this is so uncomfortable. Like there's a meme going around on TikTok. It's like, oh, I don't want to work out because it hurts. And like some people are serious. They actually said that. But then like, people are making fun of it basically. But that's like what separates the real masculine men from the feminine men. It's just like going through adversity, because there's a lot of people in my comment sections that always say stuff as well. They say stuff like, yeah, man, like I've been working out for like 2 months and I've been eating what I'm supposed to for like 2 weeks. I'm not seeing results. I'm like, dude, that is the lowest effort. And, that's the least amount of work, for expecting the amount of results that you're expecting. 2 weeks of eating, what you're supposed to is doing the bare minimum for 2 weeks only. Like that's not a big deal. And a lot of people have trouble doing that. And the reason that coaching works is because you are going into the realm, you are interacting with someone who's successful in that avenue, right? So like when people come to me, I'm good with the fitness shit because this is all I think about 24/7. I've thought about losing fat for fucking 12 years straight, read articles about it, got certified in the shit, learned it from a nurse's perspective as well. So I literally think about this shit all day, but I only see success when it comes to that avenue versus their family is out of shape and they've always been out of shape, so they only see failure when it comes to it. So they don't know how to think to overcome obstacles that I think are just I don't even know exist. You see what I'm saying? So I changed their perspective, which is the most important part of the journey. People think that it's just, oh, let me just get a workout plan and a meal plan. You already bought that shit from like an influencer and you didn't do that shit. You left it in your cart or something, or you left it undownloaded on your iCloud email or some shit, right? When in reality, you need the mindset to stay consistent. Put a winner in a loser's position, they win. You put a loser in a winner's position, they lose. You need to learn how to think like a winner in the fitness aspect, right? You need to learn how to think like a winner, how to think like a masculine man, but you can't if you're not around that shit. It's that simple. That's why you see the dudes that always never struggle with chicks. They've always played football, right? They did football, then they did track, and then during the summer they hung out with their uncles who had like 17 baby mamas each. So they're just like, that's all they saw. Like that's all they saw. So they never had an issue because they were always on game. Versus the people who comment and have issues are 30% body fat and they're raised by a single mom that yells at them because she takes her frustration out on them. And she probably like I've heard stories of moms getting mad at their son and putting like the dirty dishes on the bed. That shit is fucking funny as shit, bro. But like that's the situation that a lot of people are in. They're just playing video games. They're not interacting with anyone. They're not getting sunlight. They're increasing their fat, because of what they're eating, which means their estrogen is going up, their testosterone is going down. When your testosterone goes down, your libido is low, obviously, but your motivation and ambition are super fucking low.
That was a good point. I like how you said you were talking about like how your like your perception of things too. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is like you can only when you're going through the struggle or you're going through challenges. When you're going through challenges, and in the corporate world, we're always supposed to say, oh, like we're like when as a pharmacy manager, we were not supposed to say, hey, well, there was this problem. We say, oh, well, there was an opportunity, right? Because these challenges, they're always going to provide opportunities to grow. And the one thing that I wanted to talk about is how you react to these challenges, aka opportunities. So it got so bad for me, like in my football experience, you already know, like I had like that knee problem, and I used to go to the guest room. I used to cry because I was like, damn, like I was on varsity as a freshman, and then my sophomore year, all of a sudden I had these knee problems, and everyone thought I was faking it. So I would have to show up to the practices, and I'm showing up to the practices, but I can't practice. I just have to. But I wanted to show that, hey, I care about the team. I want to be here. But they're thinking like, oh, this guy doesn't want to run. I'm like, bro, did you not see all that work I put in? And I was like balling, and they're like, oh, he just doesn't want to run. Oh, he's making excuses. And I could barely walk, and everyone's like thinking I'm faking it, and I'm like devastated because I'm like, bro, again, it's like that booby miles, man. Football my whole life, man. So,
especially because the fucking disease it was though. No one's ever heard of that shit. It wasn't a torn ACL, some chronic
right.
shit. So if they don't understand something, they're just like, yeah, this nigga's lying.
Yeah. So it was like, and it just made me feel even worse. And it was like the lowest. I was like, bro, there's nothing worse than this. Unless like someone just cut off my legs and then I don't have legs like for the rest of my life and like I'd be cooked. Like it was so bad. It was the lowest I could ever feel. And then I got to the point that it was so low. I was like, yo, what can I do about this? There's nothing I could do about this. So once you realize that all you can do is control the controllables, that's where you start to kind of dig yourself out of this hole that you're kind of in, and you have to laugh through it, man. You have to laugh through the pain, and that's kind of how we were talking about Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter. He doesn't get excited unless it's a challenge. So if you're going through this adversity, you got to get excited about it because you can't let circumstances determine how you feel, because you are like the god of your world. You're the only person who can control your worlds, right? So if there is something that you cannot physically, mentally, like something you can't physically control, then you can mentally control it by controlling the emotions that you're feeling in that situation. Like if someone's yelling at you, like, "Oh man, you don't have to react to that 3D thing happening. you can control your emotions, and you can be the bigger person and be like, oh well, hey, sorry about that, you know.
That's a
But
good
what I do now is I'll laugh if something is a day is going so bad, or we're getting cooked at work, or just got cooked in a trade or something. I laugh, and not, I don't just laugh because it's like, oh, this is really bad. I laugh because I'm like, ha ha, this is a challenge. All right, say less, bet. I'm like, bet. I'm so certain of who I am and who I am becoming. I'm so certain that I'm going to overcome that obstacle that I'm laughing. I'm like, you really think you could try me? Gotcha, bet. And one of the quotes that I really really like is the quote that says, the gods or the man takes seriously what the gods take for fun. So, that's basically saying like the NPCs of the world, right? Who don't really aspire to do much else. The NPCs versus the main characters. That's really like the gods versus man, or the demigods. That's like the same. It's the same concept. But basically, like the NPCs of the world are just kind of walking around and they're taking things like so seriously, like, oh man, oh this is, I gotta do. But then the gods are like, this thing, come on, man. Yeah, you're gonna take it seriously in the sense of, I'm gonna be the best at this, but you're convicted and you're gonna play with it. You're gonna have fun through it. You know that you're gonna see the other side. So it kind of allows you to relax and to get into that space that we talk about, to become the best version and to do your best at something. Like Steph Curry, you're swishing it. He's having fun. You see him shoot the ball and he turns around. But guess what? He's certain because he's prepared. He's certain because he's prepared, and he's been through the struggle before. He's been through those challenges and he's overcome those challenges. So that certainty, like I said, is what's going to get you through it. Understanding that you can get through those challenges and not letting the circumstances determine how you feel.
I got a lot to say about that, because the first thing I was gonna say is when it comes to when it comes to like adversity and stuff like that. Like a lot of people, the issue is like why people don't overcome it is because people overly rely on their eyes. So if I'm like, yo, you're gonna get down to 15% body fat, and they look in the mirror and they see 30% body fat, they're like, well, how is that gonna happen? You have to focus on your vision. You see with your mind. Your eyes are just one thing that your mind uses to see. Just like Myron Golden said, right? So you have to rely on your vision, focus on your vision, read your vision, and realize that if I stick to these systems, because you got to focus on the systems, not about how you feel. Your feelings will go up and down all the time. So you focus on the systems, and eventually you'll be in a different position. Like you said, don't let your circumstances determine where you are. I remember the first year, the 1 year that changed my life, when I finally got my driver's license at like fucking 20, because you know in FAMU you used to like fucking drive without it. Anyways, but I finally got my driver's license. I got my personal training license. I put on 40 pounds of muscle. I got my nursing license all in that same year. I remember you and Evody told me to make a goals list or whatever. I made that goals list, and then I accomplished those goals. As soon as I did, I was like, no matter what happens, I will always be like, the only thing I will ever fear is being in the same place 2 years in a row. That's the only thing I feared. So from then moving on, because I had so much room to make up and I had so much shit to progress in. So from that year moving on, I was always focused on progression. Because if you're not progressing, you're regressing. You can't maintain. All right. Because AI is moving so fast, inflation moves fast, dating economy, whole inflation moves fast. You cannot maintain. You're going to regress. So if you're not aiming for progression, you are actually cooked, right? And yeah, when I go through shit, every time I'm going through shit, I'm just like, I just raise my hands up. I'm like, this is just part of the cooking. All right, this is just gonna make me stronger type shit. Like that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna make you stronger, because that's why I always revert stuff to the fitness journey and stuff like that. But I remember some of my worst shifts, working some of my worst shifts, and it's like, hey man, I said I was gonna post on Instagram after. I said I was gonna go live on TikTok after, so I have to, man. I have to, because that's what I wrote. And I write down everything in advance, and I just stick to it no matter what, no matter how I feel in the moment. You know what I mean? Like as far as my next year, I have to do everything that I said I was going to do. I can't change it because I wrote it down already. And that's what I've been moving towards. But if you focus too much on if you focus too much on your current circumstances and they're not where you want to be, you're going to become a victim of them, right? You're going to be a victim of your surroundings. But if you focus on your future and you envision that, and that's all you're thinking of, then you're eventually going to manifest that. But also you're going to approach every day with more excitement anyways. You see what I'm saying? So like you might be in a shitty environment and people are like, yo, why is that dude happy? Like I remember my last days of working at like Target or whatever. I'm like, bitch, I'm getting out this bitch. Because it took one lady. It just took one lady saying, yeah, I've been here for 30 years. I was like, okay, 2 weeks notice. Like I got to get out this bitch. I got to get out this bitch, bro. So progressing all the time. I don't want to be in the same spot, because once you're in the same spot, you run on autopilot. You become a drifter. You just start drifting through life. And someone gave you a pizza, so you ate one pizza. That's cool. Your wife started buying chocolate ice cream, so you eat the chocolate ice cream. Now it's 2 years later. Now you're fat as shit, and you find her smashing the gardener who doesn't even speak English. Shit like that. Like, that shit really happens. Like, that shit happens a lot,
I
man.
did.
Like people don't pay attention to the small. They don't pay attention to the small shit that's happening, and that's what adds up. You know what I mean? Like yeah, like the fitness journey is just the biggest example, because you can literally change your entire life if you lock in for 6 months. That's why when you go into the gym, if you go into the gym and you're new and you lock in for 6 months on nutrition, right, and the gym, you're gonna get better results than the guy who's been there for 10 years. The guy who's been there for 10 years has the same haircut. He's wearing the same fucking earrings. He probably has an ear infection. And he has the same length beard, the same fingernails, the same toenails. His elbow hair is the exact same amount. Like, there's no new tattoos. You feel me? He has the same amount of earwax, literally the same amount of boogers and everything, bro. His teeth are still spaced out in yellow. Like, nothing fucking changed, bro. 10 years. That's the average person.
Yeah, man. And it's funny what you said too. How you were like, all right, you said, hey, don't be blinded by what you see. That's something that I went by last year. Is like, okay, I'm going through adversity, right? But don't be blinded by what you see, because and with that's another banger. That's another bar. Don't be blinded by what you see. So the man who can laugh in chaos is already in control. Already in control. And then we talked about too how you wanna manifest things, but you talked about self trust basically. And I was just watching a video the other day, because I watch all the manifestation stuff. I read all the Neville Goddard, all the Florence Scovel shit. But basically, the way to create effortlessly is to create trust in yourself. That's how you're gonna get through these situations. And a lot of what you talked about was like you making a decision, right? You making a decision and then sticking to that decision. And some decisions can be called systems, right? Because systems are decisions. And remember what Myron Golden said, decision comes from the Latin deci, which or day, like that means like
Which means to cut off.
Yeah, to cut off. So to cut off. So you're cutting off all other options. It's not a choice. It's a decision. Bro, Nate has a video on that, and it was pretty fire. That shit was fire. But you're not making a choice. You're making a decision. You're cutting off all other options, and you're saying that I said I was going to do this, so I'm going to do this. I said I was going to wake up at 6 a.m.
But pause right there, though. That's like we're talking about masculinity and shit right there, right? So the problem is people have never seen, like we seen our father, like, literally always stay consistent with everything that he's done, no matter what's going on, right? People haven't had that masculine influence, right? They've seen, because like even chicks I've dated with single moms and stuff like that, right? Who have single moms, I mean, like their moms are still dating at age like 55, like just doing random shit. Like there's no structure, there's no discipline, there's nothing there. So that's who a lot of people are being raised by, or what they're seeing. So they've never seen someone decide something and stick to it through the thick and thin, and be like, why is she still staying consistent with that? Through the thick and thin, everything's going south, and they stick through it. People haven't seen that shit, right? So they make choices. A lot of people make choices. I've seen so many people say, I want to get lean, and then I give them the easiest system of all time, because I'm not trying to give them too much weights or anything, or too much, like, too aggressively, and they're like, I can't do this. I'm like, what about your decision to get lean? They're like, I don't know, like it's not worth it. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up, bro. Or like some of these dudes, bro, like I've seen some big clits in my time, but some of these dudes have some of the biggest clits on fucking earth, bro. Like they are just capping, bro. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, bro? It's week 1 and your volume. Okay, listen, think about football volume. What do we do? Power clean. You do like full body, you do power clean, you do squats, but you lift heavy. They'll do like the easiest push they have ever seen in my life, the lowest volume. And they're like, I can't no more. And they just stop. I'm like, dude, this is day 1. I'm like, yeah, he's cooked, bro. Like he's cooked. This is the leanest he'll ever be. He's done.
Jesus.
And they don't have that too.
But the thing is, like, they don't have the conviction that, hey, it will pass. Like, you have to have the conviction that it'll pass. Like at first it might seem extremely hard, but even if you have to have the conviction it's going to pass. And like I said, it's all about the trust in yourself. You got to build that trust in yourself, and it goes in everyday activity, bro. I'm talking about, like, the biggest one is like people saying, all right, I'm getting up at 6 a.m. Don't, if you can't fucking do it, bro, don't do that shit, bro. It's gonna eat at you.
Yo, that's
Bro,
some
it's
shit
gonna
I
eat,
can't fucking do, nigga.
bro, that
Yo,
shit
that shit
used to
doesn't work for
kill
me. Yo,
bro,
two
that
things
used
that
to
don't work
kill
for me
me.
is saying I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and saying I'll do 10K steps. So I just don't do that shit. I'm like, bitch, like if I say I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m., I just get too tired. If I do 10K steps, I just don't lift as heavy. So then I'm like, yo, let me just not do those things. And I still lose fat and I'm still good to go. But I would say like, damn, bro, that's just. But I wanted to talk about the blind shit a little bit more because it heightens your other senses. You know how Daredevil is a fucking hyperbole. Okay, you can't, bro, literally can see better than 3,000 people at once, bro, because he's blind, right? So all his other senses are heightened. That's how it is when you focus on your vision, right? You don't see what's in front of you. You literally might be in a crack house with freaking cockroaches everywhere, but in your head you're in a mansion. You got baddies around you, and you're making millions. You know what I mean? And then eventually you get there.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like being don't be blinded by what you see. It's all about that conviction of, hey, like I might not be in where I want to be, but I know because of who I am and the promises I keep to myself. I promise myself I'm gonna get there. So I'm gonna stick through this because I know on the other side is the rainbow and the pot of gold. Even though it's not about the rainbow and the pot of gold, it's just gonna be attracted to me because of what I've gone through. Because you're not gonna get through that unless you go through the rain. You feel me? But
That's how you get the Ayo in the pot of gold.
hey, yo.
No, but I was gonna say like what you said is all once again what you said is all masculine traits because you said intention, right? Intention, being assertive, being grounded, having conviction, being dominant, being a leader. All of that is masculine traits. But where do you learn that, right? You learn it through self confidence. How do you build self confidence? You don't buy that shit. You don't watch a pickup coach say like, oh, all you need for confidence is to do this. No, you get confidence in yourself by actually, like you said, doing something every day that you said you would do, which is not eating goofy foods. That's number one. Because if you eat shit every day, you already know you don't want to eat that, and your body feels like shit for eating it. So that's something you do every day. No matter what's going on, if you can't work out, if the sky's falling, if it's raining, if there's a hurricane, we know that eating is important, so we still eat. You know what I mean? Like literally, if someone's great grandma dies and they're like, damn, but that sucks, and then they still eat. You know what I mean? You're still gonna eat. Whatever happens, if you got fired from a job, you're still chewing on food. So just chew on the right shit. That's all you got to do. Chew on the right shit, and that'll start to build your confidence. All right. And having a lean physique is just going to emit confidence in itself because you did shit that most people can't do, which is why you have haters, but which is also why people respect you because people just cannot do it. All right. The 20%, like I said, the 20% body fat range is easy to get there. Once you start going below, people are like, oh, that's where you really got to lock in.
Yeah, 100%. And then the biggest thing about this and about sticking through like the storm too, and like the test. I made 2 videos on this because I was thinking hard about this. And I think about this, right? So everyone is always like, oh, like I'm getting tested. Remember, like when you start to lock in, that's when all the girls start hitting you up. That's when your boys are like, yo, let's go to the club, bro. I got a bunch of J, bro. I got that loud, bro. We're gonna get the bottles, and you feel like, oh man, every time I lock in, that's when all these hitches start hitting me up. But guess what? Guess what's actually happening? That's not what's happening. You're not getting tested by the universe. You're not. This is what's actually happening. What's actually happening is you're becoming aware of the decision that you have to make in terms of killing the old you or sticking with the new you. You become more aware of who you were once you start to try to change into someone that you haven't been before. I'm gonna say that one more time.
Facts.
When you feel like you're getting tested, you're starting to realize all the things that used to happen. Like for instance, the girls that used to hit you up, bro. Like the freaking, and I'm talking about like the low level ones. Like the low level ones, they used to hit you up, and like the friends, the low level friends, they used to hit you up all the time. But now you're realizing it because you're like, oh no, I'm this new version, and you have to make the decision of, hey, that's not who I'm gonna be. So like the person struggling in the gym when they're like, the thing is, it's tough. Well, you have the decision. Are you going to just not kill the old version of you, or are you going to completely surrender to this new path? And it's the same in life and in dating. The storm is going to be temporary. You're going to get to the pot of gold. The storm is going to be temporary. So for instance, with women, when you're talking to women, right? What are they going to do? They're going to shit test you, right? And the shit test it's like the micro version of like life's adversity. It's like, all right, is he going to be that raw person or the person that he needs to be the person to get me, or is he going to be the one who, like, when I shit test him, he's going to lose control, right? He's going to lose control, overreact, or he's going to fold. So that's all these tests, so-called tests, are. These tests are seeing who are you deciding to be right now, and it's all about being. Again, it's all about being the version of yourself that you envisioned. And once you be that version, you're going to do the things that that version of yourself would do, not the old version. You're not going to go drink. You're not going to be like, oh no, and like go off on some girl trying to shit test you. You're gonna remain calm through the storm. You're gonna remain calm through that storm, and you're gonna pass it with flying colors. And then you're going to, because you're being that person and you're doing the things that that person would do, you're going to get all of the things that that version of yourself would get. The girl's gonna be like, oh dang, oh man, where do you want to smash? Yo, check
Yeah.
into, bro, this girl tried the shit out of me, bro. I remember it happened multiple times. We were throwing this party, bro. It was lit. It was like a Christmas party, whatever. And then this girl, she said something to me. She said something so crazy, and like I didn't like realize back then, like, oh, this is a shit test. I was just like, I was like at the best peak of like myself. I was like in shape. I was studying hard. I was making money tutoring and doing all these things, right? I was
Bro
like
was
locked
nigga
in.
son.
I was naked.
Bro was nigga son.
I was
Tyrone's
15.
son.
And then she, like, all these girls were like at the party, like trying to get my attention, right? And then this one girl, she came up to me and then she like pushed me, and then she said something. Just know it was a shit test, but it was some shit. It was a shit test. And then I said something back, and then she instantly she grabbed my hand. She's like, all right. She's like, where's your room? Where's your room? Let's go back to your room, because, like, I passed the test, but. And essentially, you got to be that version of yourself to and do the things that that version of yourself would do to get to where you want to be.
That goes back to conviction though, because when you're firm and you stand on business, like, chicks find that shit attractive. They're gonna poke at it in different ways, but when you stand on business, that is a sign of a leader, and that's the energy you need to go through thick and thin. Like, that's the energy you need if you lose your house or some shit, and you got to make shit happen, because you're gonna make shit happen with that energy. Like, no, I'm firm in who I am. I'm not changing shit. But if you have like more feminine energy, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, it didn't work. What do I do next time? But you have to get used to adversity. Like Napoleon Hill. Just watch Napoleon Hill's life. Like, he basically barely got paid for like 20 years, but he had a vision to make to interview the most successful people and give that knowledge to everybody, with the books and stuff like that. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. Did he think it would take 20 years? He didn't care. He was like, shit, I'm gonna do it however long it takes. That's another thing you have to. That represents your conviction, by the way. A lot of you guys want to open the door, right? And then you're using your left foot to hold the door open while you look what's outside. You have to let that door close behind you. You can't be two people in one body. You know what I mean? Unless you have, multiple personality disorder, which is not treatable. Trust me. I worked in a detox. We had to deal with that. But, like, you can't have two people in one body, and you guys want to be your old self and your new self. You have to close the door behind you. You have to have that conviction. You have to make it. When you make that decision, you have to be serious about it and firm on it. Because a lot of people, like I said, like, I can tell just about like 2 months into most people's fitness journeys. I'm like, hey man, could you mind removing your left foot? And they're like, wait, what do you mean? The door's still open. Can I go back? Like, no, bro, close the door. And they're like, and they're fighting with their old self, right? Because they love their old habits so much. The food makes them feel a certain way inside, and just shit like that. Like, they're so serious about the foods and the drinking and stuff like that. And yeah, you are going to become more aware when you start to make those changes. So to you, since this is the first time you're paying attention to shit, you're going to be like, oh my God, all this is happening. Another thing is, when I give this is like 100%, women and men clients, like, over the past 10 years, when I give people their calories, they always say the same thing, like, oh, this is way too much food. And I'm like, what's your body fat percentage? They're like, well, I'm 30%. I'm like, you're eating way more fucking food than this, so shut up and eat it. Like, it's more whole foods, and it's the first time they're paying attention to it. And they're like, oh my God, I'm spending so much money. I'm like, go back to what you spent last year for food, write it down. And then at the end of this month, write down how much you spent. They always spend like half, because they have structure and they have discipline. They have, they have intention. Yes, they spend more at once, but then they don't spend the rest of the week because they're meal prepping and shit. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, structure and discipline is what gets you through stuff. And obviously, like they say, discipline is freedom, but that structure is what most people lack, and they don't respond well to it because they've never been exposed to it. And just one example, like, I saw a video. There was a little kid, right, and he had both his parents, thank God. But there was a little kid. He was boxing and he was crying, and the coach was like, "Man, get the fuck out of my face. Go to your dad, right?" And his dad, because he kept messing up, and his dad was like, "Hey man, here's how you do the combo. Here's how you do the 1, 2, 3." And the dad was kind of consoling him or whatever, and then he was still crying, and he's like, "Listen," the dad was like, "Listen, you're a man. You don't cry. Lock in. Do the 1, 2, 3 again." And then the kid did the 1, 2, 3, and then the dad was like, "Do it again." Then he did the 1, 2, 3. And then the dad was like, "Good job, man. Now go back." And then the kid wiped his tears, went back, and started training again. That's what it's like being a man. If it was a woman, and she was crying or some shit like that, the fucking boxing teacher would get arrested or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, as a man, you're gonna deal with adversity. That's just part of life. All right, cry and get back up. Nobody fucking cares. They want to see results. They want to see proof. That's it. A good physique is proof, by the way. That's another reason it matters. It's just proof. It is what it is. Like, and back to the shit testing thing. Passing shit tests. Like, the funny thing is, I remember there used to be videos about, like, bro, there used to be videos about what to say on this date, how to pass the shit test, all that. And I used to wonder, I was like, well, sir, how do you do it? Well, how many videos should I watch? And I used to actually, like, watch that shit and think about them, like, well, how do I? But then when you actually get into your masculine energy and you stand on business, you always prioritize yourself, you will pass every shit test. You don't even look for shit tests, all right? And then you start shit testing bitches. Like, that's what I do. I just shit test chicks. Or I pass the shit test with flying colors, because it's literally a test to see if you're in your masculinity. Because if a girl's in her femininity, she's gonna be attracted to masculinity. But if she questions it for some reason, then she's gonna be like, I'm gonna have to test him. But that's subconscious. All right, it's subconscious. It's like if you skip 2 months, like it's like if you have a boxing coach and you just won a title, but then you party for 2 months and then you come back. You know what I mean? And you haven't hit the pads for 2 months, so the coach is like, "Yo, this nigga still got that shit." You're gonna have to prove that you still got it, man, because you took 2 months off. You ignored your coach's messages. You got a little bit out of shape, so you're gonna have to prove that shit. It's like coming off an ACL injury too. Unless you're Adrian Peterson, it's probably not gonna be good. But like, you have to prove yourself, because people are always gonna doubt it. They're gonna be like, "Well, he has an ACL injury or whatever." But like, if you just have like a perfect career like Patrick Mahomes, basically, then yeah, you're not gonna get shit tested. You're not gonna get shit tested as much because you're locked in or whatever.
Yeah. So what you said was pretty powerful too, because what you said is powerful. What you said is powerful because when you decide to be that version of yourself, when you decide to just be him, what you're doing essentially is you're prioritizing yourself, because it's kind of like what you said last time when you said when you prioritize yourself, you give yourself all of the energy that you need to grow. Kind of like when you water a seed, you're giving it energy, right? But when you give yourself that space, that energy, and focus on growing, then you can develop skills and you can become a higher version of yourself. You can become good at things, right? And you're going to always prioritize yourself. So then it's going to show yourself, again, that you trust yourself to do the things, to get the things done, and also that you care for yourself above all others. So then you're never, if someone's like, "Hey, you're going to come over here and do this for me," you're gonna be like, "The heck? No, I'm not gonna do that. I got stuff to do." And you're gonna prioritize yourself and your things. And then again, women love that when you're like, "Nah, we're gonna do it my way. We're gonna do it on my time, and we're gonna do it like they love that." So,
bro, I got examples of that for days though. Hold on. That's a good one. Cause okay, so here's the thing. Like I told you guys, I went to a barbershop like a couple of months ago, and the chick was watching her guy get a haircut. She was like super small and feminine. The guy was kind of out of shape and feminine too, but she was interviewing me, and she was just basically all over me or whatever. And she was like, "You don't drink? I've never seen a guy who doesn't drink. My boyfriend drinks. What do you mean no drink? Is that how you have these muscles?" And she was just intrigued at like the fact that I just didn't drink, because I mean everyone comes to Bangkok to just fucking drink and party, and they're like, "Oh, it's great." I'm like, "Nigga, I'm not doing this shit." But usually when I'm talking to a chick, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we can go out to eat and blah blah. I don't know if you drink, or we can go out drinking." I'm like, "I don't do that shit. Like we're not going out drinking." And then I give them some options for dates. I always give chicks options for dates, and then depending on what they pick, I don't really care. I just ignore it. I'm like, "Well, you picked the wrong answer. This is the only answer. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing at this time." And then they're like, "What the fuck?" Like, and then like, this is when I'm like, "No, this is the time. This is where we're going." Like every single time I pick where we're going, because if I'm going somewhere, it better be some good fucking steak, because that's the only thing I care about. Or if it's like a boxing match or something like that, but it has to be good steak. It has to be something I'm interested in, because I put myself first, all right? I'm like, okay, my macros are pretty good today. I want some steak and wine. I haven't had wine in a minute. I haven't had wine in 4 months. Let me get some good fucking 1948 wine or some shit with some fucking Wagyu steak, bro. That shit pussy pink steak, nigga. Like, that's what I want personally. A lot of you guys act nice, But when you act nice, a chick knows you're not kind. She knows you're trying to overcompensate. So you might be like, yeah, I'll take you wherever you want to go. And then she's like, okay, let's go to Nobu then. You don't like Nobu. You're not comfortable spending as much that you spend at Nobu. So that's why you feel like you're putting in more effort. But in reality, you're just absolutely failing the shit test and you're going broke. So it's a lose-lose situation. You know what I mean? I go to steakhouse I want to go to. So if I actually don't like the chick or she's catfish, I don't care. I enjoyed my night because I ate fucking steak, bro. I'm chilling, bro. And I'm in my macros, like I'm chilling. It's always a win-win for me. I can't lose on a date because I'm going to the gym or I'm going to steak. Those are things, going to eat steak. Those are things I was going to do anyways. You know what I mean? You guys try to act different to impress a chick. You know what I mean? That doesn't even have genuine desire for you. So you're just running in circles. You're just doing dumb shit. You're like, yo, I'm going to go to, stop going to Nobu, bro. Like one day a chick's gonna take me to Nobu. I mean, they take me places, but one day a chick will take me to Nobu. I'm not taking her there though. That's not happening. I just don't eat there. It's just a brand name.
That energy is easily discernible by women. Women have like this natural ability to discern between who's actually a high value male and then who is not a high value male. And that term gets loosely tossed here and there, but you can really tell who puts themselves first, who takes care of themselves and puts themselves above all others. And then who is going to try to pander to anybody, not just women, like who's going to be like pandering to this friend so I can keep this friend. I'm going to do this so I can keep this friend. Or are you going to do what is in your best interest? And then if you do what's in your best interest and you're always having fun, if you do it, so at the end of the day, if you do what's in your best interest, you're going to be happy. You're going to have fun, right? Because it's like you're able to control, again, about control. You're able to control your own reality. And you'll be able to control your own reality a lot better if you put yourself first. And then you're going to be in abundant energy, an abundant mindset, and you won't even have to think twice about these so-called tests, right? And then you're going to have the conviction that, hey, whatever challenge I face, it's going to pass. You're going to stay calm. You're going to be collected. And you're even going to be playful about those situations because you trust yourself so much that you're going to put yourself first and you're going to get the task done. And that's what passes the test, essentially.
Exactly. And the thing about the shit test and stuff like that, a lot of times the reason it's even happening is because there's not genuine desire. You know what I mean? Because that's why it even happens in general. But it's like when you're in the right energy, you're going to pass every test. You don't even have to think about that shit. But for those of you guys thinking about it or being like, wait, this girl didn't ask me on should I get on a second date? You know, should I ask her on a second date? It's been 2 weeks. She literally racked up like 3 new bodies, bro. She's not interested, bro. Like, she's not interested, bro. Like, literally, it's not that deep. And by the way, the biggest sign of self-respect is spending time around people who respect you. So if a chick disrespects you and you stay, she is going to lose even more respect for you. She's going to be like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? I just disrespected him and now he bought me flowers. Like, what is this dude? Like, this is the lowest human of all time. Like, that's how she's going to think of you. Because clearly you think of yourself that way if you yourself are dealing with that shit. So that's why I don't deal with fuckery. And by the way, that's why if someone comments some shit that literally is objectively just dumb, you know, objectively dumb and it's like some hating shit, I'm just going to delete that because they have 0 subscribers. They're not getting 1 like because then they would ratio their own subscribers. That shit's not happening. Go get in shape and shut the fuck up like that. That shit's not happening, bro.